can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Okay, now Don. Don?
Yeah, that's my name.
We've got a lot of things to cover, but unfortunately, most of it gets, the first segment gets bogged down with instructions to you. And now I don't like to do it on air, but
You're going to do it on air.
Well, only because
you're a control freak.
Only because I'm responding to 8,000, not
What?
8,000. That's hyperbole, Don. Many people on social media on my Ridge Smart as Sam, which is my Twitter account, or my original Smart as Sam, which is my Instagram account. I only say that not because we want people to ring in or get in contact with us, but they do, and they have confusion. So first of all, Don, Ivan,
Yes.
Ivan, you know Ivan, who's back in Perth now, we had many calls saying Ivan wasn't on. You couldn't hear him through his microphone. So we did some investigation and we looked under where your feet were, and you'd kicked his cord out.
Oh, it would be me, wouldn't it?
Well, my feet aren't 8 foot long, Don. And Ivan was sitting to the right of me, so his feet would have been 12 foot long, or 3 metres, or whatever you say. So that's why he wasn't on air. Only lucky, well, I think it was lucky that Nicola Charles, remember our guest from last week?
Yeah,
Just lucky that she was could hear her, although we have some comments about Nicola Charles. And I'll get onto them in a minute. So that was the first thing. Secondly, there were gaps, we were told. We didn't realise this until we listened back to because I listened back to the podcast just to see how much you talk over the top of me and how many topics you bring to the table with you, none. And so I listened back to it, and there were bits of the first segment that didn't go to air. There was gaps. And we had plenty of people ring in and say, why don't you work out how to use the thing? Where's the rocket? Wait till I get onto the rocket. Wait till I get onto the rocket. So we assume that everything is working. I'm keeping a close eye, Don. Do you know what cadence bars are?
No, but obviously you've got a lessons from somebody and they've brought you up to date with what a cadence bar is.
Listen, stupid. I haven't got a lesson on cadence
you
bars.
Have. You've got a lesson on how to work this machine.
I'm looking at the screen, and every time you speak, the cadence bars go up. And
good.
If I'd kept an eye on when Ivan was on, I could see that his cadence bars wasn't up because you'd kicked his cord out.
Oh, badly.
Yeah. So...
Yes.
So when we rang off, when we finished yesterday, you said, when we finished last week, you said, I got to congratulate you. And I said, well, why didn't you do it on air, on the podcast? And then I filmed you. I could put that to the on the social media. You saying, I've got to congratulate you. And you said you'll do it next week. So what were you going to...
No. You just want praise,
I
and
do.
I'm not going to give praise.
Well, you said I've got it. I could play it over the phone if you like.
Well, you can do whatever you like.
You said I want to congratulate you. Well, why didn't you congratulate me? I don't know what you were congratulating me on.
Well, we talk off air.
What?
We talk off air.
That's right. Why couldn't you talk on air?
Because there are some things, but not you. I mean, you have no privacy whatsoever, whereas there are some things that are, private.
I was going to do a whole thing on it. I will say it one day on the podcast because I've been thinking about it for a few weeks.
No, I'm not talking about that. What did you say?
Shut up. You're a bastard.
Nothing.
Twice you said it.
No, I will say it on the podcast.
You wanted to compliment me.
I will pass the compliment on the podcast.
Right, so that's it, Don. I've the tape recorded that. And you said, and Ivan backed it up, you said, I want to compliment you on something, and I'll do it on the podcast.
Well, I'm not in the mood to pass compliments. Sometimes I'm in a good mood, and I will pass a compliment, but I'm just not in a good mood. A compliment
is a compliment whether you're in a good mood or not.
No.
What did you want to compliment me on?
It's not the time to bring it up.
What?
Not the time to bring it up.
The time is exactly now. This is the next podcast. And I have you on. I have you on tape there saying...
What's up with your shoulder? What's that blue stuff? Give us a look at it. See, this is where I told you we should have a camera. What do you got strapped?
We should have a camera to see. Look
No.
at you today. Look at you.
Have a look at you. You look like an old man.
Look at you. I can't even see any of your body. You've got a green tracksuit on. You've got a neckerchief. You've got a scarf. You've got a brown leather coat. You've got a hat on. I can see your little beady eyes.
You've taken a lot of trouble. You got your bloody T-shirt, which you should get on.
I
Why
go
don't you get a
into
lady in to iron your
I
stuff?
tell you, I go into
You
it.
obviously can't iron. What do? Just put it in the washing machine, pull it out, and away you go.
Don, we're taking time from topics. I go into a lather and a frenzy trying to get this thing to work properly so that when you drive up for an hour and a half just lolling about listening to the radio, I'm trying to prepare what we're doing. You kicking the cord out, we can't hear Ivan. I go into a sweat. That's why I'm trying to get this
Tell me about the thing on your shoulder.
Well, I've had a bad week, Don.
Why? What have you done?
Well, you know when the horse ran through, we do that on air?
I don't know.
You opened the gate
Yeah, and the
last
bastard
week.
went over the top of me.
The horse, you let one out, and the
Yeah,
other one
the other
followed
one
and ran
straight-
over you.
yeah, straight
Did
over.
we do that on air?
I don't know, but I was crook.
Yeah, that's right. So I said, you got to look after yourself, Don.
Yeah.
So I have a listen to this. I'm playing golf. I'm playing golf last Thursday, and I'm 45 metres away from a friend of mine who snap hooked a ball into
Hang
my...
on, what's a snap hook?
Well, you go to hit the ball straight up the fairway, and it veers left severely, quickly and severely, because you...
Hang on, what angle were you on from him?
Fuck.
Well, I mean, were you on a 90-degree angle?
45 degrees.
Well, in other words, you're in front of him.
I was... Yes, Don.
Well,
I
you're
was-
an idiot.
Turned out I was an idiot. So it was his fault and mine. I'm not blaming him, of course. So he hits this 3 metal. Do you know what a 3 metal is?
Yeah, 3 wood off the
A lot
fairway.
of people call them 3 woods, but there's no wood in it, so it's a metal
Yeah,
now.
you use it for... no, it's not a fairway, it's a...
Yes, you use a fairway wood, it is.
Yeah.
So it's hit with gusto, Don,
Yeah,
as
I know,
opposed
I
to
know,
a pitch.
I know.
So he snap hooks it into my side and breaks
you're
2 of my
joking.
ribs.
You're
What?
serious.
Am I serious? Yeah, I'm serious. So
You broke 2 ribs.
the ball did, cracked them. So I
Far
go down to...
Hang on.
Here's an interesting
Shit.
thing, going down to the emergency at Epworth. Very, very...
Where were you playing?
What?
Where were you playing?
What does that matter?
Well, I mean, how long were you in pain for? From the golf course to the hospital?
Well, I'll tell you... No, so I'll tell you this, Don. Here's an interesting thing about your body,
Yeah.
if we can talk about me for a minute.
Oh, we always do.
Well, no, I'm just saying that because I don't want to talk about me.
Oh, jeez, the world revolves
So
around
it happened
you.
on the second hole, and I played the whole rest of the round
you're
because of the adrenaline.
You're an idiot. Anyway, keep going.
Because of the adrenaline, and I was warmed up. And when I finished, it got a bit touchy, and then I got home, and that night it was a bit touchy. And the next morning and the next night, wow, did it kick in. So I go down to Epworth. Now, very nice people at the Epworth. Have you ever been to an emergency?
Which one, Richmond?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
They're very good.
Yes, they take their time, but so they ought to. You've left there for a while.
Yep.
And so anyhow, I had X-ray. So then I went and had my shoulder MRI, and that's got a rotor cuff problem with it. So
hang on.
Yep.
Is that from the golf ball
No,
as well?
that's from a different thing. So anyhow, I'm just travelling, Don. So if I wince a bit,
So you got 2 broken
probably
ribs.
will be.
Hang on.
Cracked.
Just shut up for a moment.
Right, thank you, Don.
You've got 2 broken ribs.
Well, cracked. I'm not sure the difference when they differentiate
Hang
between
on.
a crack
So you're
and a
not going to
break.
stand in front of a bloke. What about if it was a foot higher?
If it was 2 feet high, Don, you'd be coming. If he'd killed me, would you actually come to the memorial
I think you'd
funeral?
have a very big funeral.
Yeah,
I think
'cause if
you'd
you-
have an enormous
Do you
funeral.
know why?
Well, you're very popular.
No.
within
Do you know
the-
why I'd have a big funeral? Because if you give people what they want, they'll turn up.
What's that?
Oh dear, fuck! You don't get that?
No.
If you give the public what they want, like me being dead.
Oh, don't talk shit.
Oh, well, it's a joke, Don.
Oh, that's morbid. I don't like that.
Morbid.
Yeah.
Was a joke.
Well,
But
it
it
fell
went
flat.
over because it went over your head.
No,
you
it
took
didn't.
the
It
hat
just-
off for a start. It mightn't go over your head. It could trap it inside that brain of yours.
Well, you're
Now-
an idiot. So you've learnt a lesson, as I have, with the horse.
Yes,
Now I
yes,
make sure
I
that
have.
horse. So you're not going to stand in front.
No, Don. No. And
Jeez, how many times do you do that on a golf course?
Plenty.
I know you
Here's
do.
a salient lesson to people.
And I'm not a golfer, but I've done that.
So I get up to the, I think it's the...
Shit, that could have killed you.
Could have killed me. I get up
Did you
to
see the ball coming?
only at the last minute, last second.
Shit.
So I see. I play on. And I get to the 11th hole. 11th hole. Hang on.
And
listen.
you're cracking hard, which is stupid.
I wasn't cracking.
Yes,
It just
you do.
wasn't.
You're hopeless.
Don, I get to the 11th hole and I can hear in the front yard of a friend's house who's got a very big property on the golf course. I won't mention his name.
Where are we playing?
At the National down at Cape Shank.
Oh, okay.
He's got a very prestigious house there, and I
Jared
won't mention
Healy?
his name, but he used to be on the podcast.
He used to be on the
early days. He used to be on the podcast, Don.
Sheehan's got a place.
No, this is above Sheehan's pay grade.
Okay, well then we got Rod Law.
No,
He's
Rod
in East
Law
Melbourne.
wasn't on the fucking golf course, Don. Don Rod Law, and I wouldn't go on the
Well,
golf
who
course. Well, they used to be on the podcast early days, like in years gone by.
Oh, okay.
Can't you work it? Anyhow,
No, I don't listen to podcasts.
well, anyhow, he's got a very prestigious...
Well, was he at home?
No, well,
Whoever your friend is?
The point of me telling you
You could have
this
gone
is
in there and just rested up.
he's having it renovated. And so the point of me telling you this is how we get nowhere. You keep interrupting. You just go... In fact, Don, a friend of mine said...
You've got one.
A friend of mine said, an agent of mine, an agent...
Agent.
said that this person was going to go down, this friend of mine, and speak to the lass. Is the lass on the footpath at St Kilda still?
I know. This is...
Right, hang on, just let me...
I came past.
This is what the woman who is my agent said. She said, Don never lets you finish a topic before he interrupts or goes on to something. I don't mind you interrupting. Let me tell you what she said. She said... Because she's got onto the podcast and she said, I think she has, anyhow, someone told her, she was going to go down to the woman...
I don't like the word she.
What?
I don't like the word she.
You don't like the word she?
No.
What do you like?
Well, her name.
I'm not giving you her name, Don. She mightn't want her name mentioned. And it wouldn't matter if I mentioned her, but I'm not being presumptuous about mentioning her name. She's just a friend of mine. So she said, I don't think it's they or thy. If they are, it's they or they, I'm in trouble. So she goes down and she said, look, why don't I go down and ask the woman, I said, good luck with that, if she'd come on the podcast. And I said, yeah. How would that work? And she said, well, I'll ask her, would you, Don Scott and Sam Newman, do a podcast? And before she tells you to fuck off, I said, if she on the off chance says, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, I'll get Don to come down in his truck and he can put her in the back of the tray like a bloody, so he can load her into the back of the truck and bring her back here and we'll interview her. And I said, look, I might even give her some, we could interview her seriously about how we could help her life.
Well,
and I said, but good luck with that, saying, would you like to be on the podcast?
Did she go down?
She said, she wouldn't tell me to get fucked. I said, I'm telling you, if she's not lying on her ass, she'll get up and probably smack you in the mouth. So anyhow, so that's how, how did I get on?
A friend of yours, a teammate of yours,
So how did I get on?
wandered down
Yes, no, hasn't
his
yet
walk.
said what?
on his walk. He lives in Port Melbourne. Gareth Andrews with his little pug dog went for a walk down along Beaconsfield Parade and came across our friend sitting. She's getting quite a following.
This is the point. People are making a hero out of
Well,
it.
I saw it. She wasn't there last week.
Oh, she
She's
might be on
returned.
holidays down in Bay
No, she's
Street.
returned, but she has moved her bed this morning. She moved it closer. She was just about in the gutter, so she is taking up footpath now. But it was interesting that she didn't have a top on.
A big pun, Dodd?
She was sitting up in her little swag, smoking a cigarette.
With breasts out.
No, she didn't have them out, but you could see that she had her breasts covered.
She might have been advertising.
She was topless.
That's
Because you wouldn't have,
topless.
well, she wouldn't have a bra without straps, would she?
Don,
Strapless bra.
So you're telling me this woman was lying there topless? She might be advertising.
Well, she was undercover.
suitors.
No, sorry. Listen, she was undercover, and the covers were covering her breasts. But you could see she was on one elbow, smoking a cigarette.
They're $60 a packet, cigarettes.
She walks down. Is it Albert's? What's the name of the street opposite?
Yeah, Kerford Road? Or whatever.
No, Middle Park she goes. She walks down there,
Nimmo
comes
Street,
back with...
Wright Street, Armstrong Street.
Armstrong Street.
Thank you, Don.
The shop's at Armstrong Street and comes back with a... Anyway,
So
she's
there's
got a following.
$60 a packet.
Yeah, well, she comes back with a bag full of cigarettes and smokes them. There's butts everywhere. Anyway, she's back.
So, Don,
Why don't you... Hey,
what's
listen.
Gareth Andrews got to do with it?
Well, Gareth said about being rude. He spoke to her.
Oh, did he?
Yes, and he goes down there and he's telling me about her hanging a bedding up on the...
Her smalls.
No, not a smalls. Her bedding, she hangs it up on the convenience block so it airs and dries. And
This is a joke.
she's intimidating.
So
Why don't you draw...
What?
Now listen,
What I know
here you
what?
go. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm going to
Now,
tell
you're very vocal about this woman.
I'm vocal about the council allowing it to
Okay,
go
why
on.
don't you highlight it by getting a swag yourself and going and sleeping with her?
Well, we did this last week, Don.
Did we?
I wouldn't go and sleep with her.
No, we'll
because I'd
beside
hated her to beat me to
She
death
would
or
too.
anything. Yeah, she'd break a swan's wing with a blow of a nose. So I could move down 50 metres away and would it mind when I needed to evacuate my bowels? Could I ask her, would it be all right if I went into the latrines before
you
her?
could go for a swim in the bay.
Oh, yeah, you said have a shit in the bay while you're swimming. Don, swim undeterred. Seriously. So if I went, this is my point, if I went down there and lay on, not to make fun of her at all. I'm not making, this is not making fun of her, although if she's lying with her breasts out, not sure why she'd be doing.
She's not lying with the breasts out, but she's got the covers.
You could tell she had no breasts on, no bra on.
No, she didn't have any top. Didn't have a top on.
What about her bottoms? She have to do her up over the old, over the legs and that, and that. Did you? And I'm not making fun of her. This is nonsensical that the council won't go and ask her, how could we improve your life if we can? And madam, please, you cannot do this. I would do it, but the risk of getting ripped. Anyhow, my agent, I said, good luck with that. She was going to go down. She was going to.
She's got a following, this woman.
And that's my point.
People are bringing her food.
It's like when you feed, they say don't feed the seagulls. And when you have fish and chips, people feed the seagulls and they come and they rip the shit out of everything and they piss everywhere. I'm not saying she does this. I've got a story about seagulls and cockatoos in a minute, but I'm going to finish, Don. What you broke into my train of thought. Oh, yes. So when I got to the 11th hole, listen.
What do we...
When I got to the 11th hole of where my friend has a prestigious mansion on the golf course, right?
Yes.
I could hear, as I was about to tee off in a little bit of pain because I had 2 broken ribs, I could hear dun 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 dun. That's the start to our podcast music. So I stop.
Is it really?
How
does it go again?
Maxine Nightingale. Dun 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 dun. Would you like me to play it?
No, please. It's shocking. It's shocking.
What?
It's shit.
The fuck?
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
That. Can you hear that? Have I turned everything off while I've done that? That was.
You're becoming very apt at that.
Oh no, I've probably turned us off. No, Don. So I could hear. Shut up. I could hear that in the garden where they're renovating this friend of mine's house. He's got a prestigious house on the golf course on the 11th hole. And I walk over. I didn't hit my shot. I walk over. I said, "You listening to It Cannot Be Serious? You cannot be serious to these boys." 2 boys. Men. And they said,
"Sure."
Yeah, they were men, Don. They were in overalls, and I can tell you
that I see plenty of
Yeah, I know. These were men. These were males. Mind you. No, they were. So, I said, are you listening to You Cannot Be Serious? They said, oh, mate, we wouldn't miss it. I said, we'll give you a shout out. So I said, so Peter and Peter. There's two Peters. I said, geez, Peter, Paul and Mary. And I met a man called Peter. Peter and Peter listen. And I said, would you like us, you love this? I said, would you like us to mention the company you work for? They said, oh, shit, no. No, we don't want that publicity. So I said, all right.
Builders.
Well, I presume they might be encroaching in your business. They might have been landscapers. I think they were builders. Peter and Peter. So there they are. So that's Peter and Peter. So that's we've finally got that out. I had to
give a shout out to somebody too.
And what?
I had to give one of your shout outs to somebody, but I forgot.
And I'm just going to mention this. I haven't told you deliberately but we've got a guest coming in today, a bloke called Lucas Cockatoos. He's a magician.
That'd be terrific.
Don, I know nothing about him. You know no more than me. I know his name. You can't research him, and I told him to bring a pack of cards in, and this is going to be we're going to test this. I'm not sure.
Do you think he'll do a disappearing act?
Don.
That was a attempted joke.
Don, please. It's like the bloke said he's a magician. He had this girl in the car. He said, he's driving her along, and he said, I'm a magician. She said, yeah, why? He said, I'm going to turn into this motel with you in a minute. So he's going to turn into a motel with her. Now, Don. So Don, Lucas, I think, is coming in, and we're going to do a first. I'm going to get you to show him, because I was at the I was at the gala dinner that Joe and Tony Hashem put on for poker night, big poker night, a charity poker night for, and Shane Warne, who was a great devotee of it. They did a nice tribute to him. It was a fantastic night at the Hyatt, and this boy was there. He is a boy. He was doing card tricks.
That's condescending.
Why?
Man.
I call
70-year-old
people.
You're condescending.
You walk up to people on the golf course, and there's 8 blokes sitting around who are like over 70, and you say, "G'day, boys, how you going?" I shall call everyone boys. I call you a boy. You're a boy.
But you're condescending.
You got a brain of a boy. Now, Don. No, I'm going to finish this.
You got a magician. One of my favourite shows, and I try and work it out, is that Penn and Teller.
I mentioned it to him. Penn and Teller are coming out to Melbourne, and I said, are you going to be on it? He said, oh, no, you've got to apply to be on it. It's the world-famous magician show. I mentioned Penn and Teller, so we can mention that to him. So, Don,
They got fooled last Saturday night, Penn and Teller.
I asked him that. Do you think they've ever been fooled?
Yeah, they were on Saturday night.
Oh, but that might be for the theatre of it, Don.
No.
Don.
I'd like to understand. Yeah, anyway,
so
this is good. Well done.
No. So what I got him in for, because I told him to bring a deck of cards in.
It's going to be good on radio.
You're listening to me, you fool of a man. I said I'm going to try and do a first here to see if we can translate and come across the microphone what he is doing by showing you a card trick, because I sat next to him and he did some extraordinary things with the cards right in front of me, and I said, that is unbelievable. How do you do that? Well, of course he wouldn't tell me. I said, would you like to come in and I'll get Don. You can do it in front of Don and explain it, and Don can explain it into the microphone. And if you can tell me how he does it and not be staggered and gobsmacked by it, Don, that's why he's coming in. It might be a disaster, but most things we do could be disasters. So that's why. So you don't need to know anything about him. I know nothing about him except his name. But we can go from there. You're resourceful enough to ask him some sensible questions after he... Can you? Right. So now...
Can I ask you a question? Because it's just the last few weeks, it seems to be fashionable for men to have little dogs. Have you noticed that?
Yes, we've covered this plenty of times,
Have we?
Don. Everyone in my area, my precinct, has a little dog.
Well, Antonio Topic, who came in with Jake Ellis, he had a little dog.
I know, you held it up and stroked it.
Yeah, that's right. Ian Bremner, who played with me at Hawthorn, came down with his little poodle. It had to go everywhere with him. Gareth Andrews has got another AFL footballer, has got a little pug. Gary Colling played at St Kilda. His little dog's got to go everywhere with him.
Without touching the microphone, place your mouth just a little bit in front of
couldn't.
it. I'm watching the bars, Don.
It cannot get any bloody closer.
No, you get it in line with it. You're speaking off to the side. That's better. Now, speak in line with... Don't touch it. Speak in line with it. Look,
right, okay.
No, fuck.
You didn't happen to watch the Stall Gift.
You're right.
You didn't.
You're right.
Well, it just turned back the clock. I know they do it each year, but what a terrific event it is. The tradition, men and women running in that gift. I remember AJ Bell, I think it was the first one I watched in 1963, and the ABC covered it. And the ABC used to be very diverse in the sports that they covered. Sport nowadays is all mainstream, but wasn't it a relief and a terrific effort by Channel 7 to do a sport that's not mainstream? And you're right.
Don,
oh, shit, I cannot.
I'm trying to get people to hear you. Not that I know why they want to hear you. That's better. That's me shouting. Go on. Go and keep going.
Anyway, that was on Monday. It was a terrific telecast by Channel 7. It went for a couple of hours, and it was a prelude. Better. It was a prelude to the Geelong Hawthorn game at the MCG.
Yeah,
but,
good.
I just think that they should get more diverse sport on television instead of doing the same old thing, which is horse racing, tennis, golf. Well, golf's not done anymore, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Overseas it is, not here locally.
It's pretty hard to do it every week.
Football,
the Stall Gift only comes on at Easter.
There's only about a couple of sports that are covered.
No, there's not. There's
athletics. You tell me when the last athletics was covered.
Well, if you get Foxtel, you'll be able to watch it. The Stall Gift only comes on at Easter, so how can you have that on every week? Now, Don, this is
you are a clown.
This is what some comments, right? I'm just doing this as comments, right? Because we like to give feedback. Because this is from Pierre, who's Lefebvre. I don't know, he's a made-up name. Mightn't be. Great episode as usual, but there were moments of various silence from 5 to 7 minute mark on episode 1. Any reason why? Yes, Pierre, I've already indicated this. Don kicked the fucking plug out of Ivan's phone. That's one of them.
Where are you going to go and see about this Asperger's you've got?
Listen to this. Now, this is why people don't quite listen to what you say. This is West Tiger at Steve Rowan. I don't know what that means, Steve Rowan. Loved your segment on the Kokoda Walk, Sam. But please, and you to Don, Aussies have always called it the Kokoda Track. If you'll remember, the Americans called it the Kokoda Trail. I did say that we went up the Kokoda Trail, although I think it's meant to be called the Kokoda Track. I did say that on the podcast, and he said, so again, great to listen, but could you, except for that one word, track and trail, put him off. But I'm preempting that because I did say it was called the track. So here we are, and this is a bloke called Sean Wilson. I'll have to mention his name. Haven't listened yet. This is a bloke who hasn't listened to the podcast yet, but he's making comment on it. Have a listen to this. Haven't listened yet, but surely nothing can surprise if you have been listening to the last 2 years. The Rocket was the only one keeping this show remotely sensible. So he says he hasn't listened to the podcast, but the Rocket he's only listened because the Rocket was the only one that kept the show sensible. So my question to you, Don, is, no one has ever, I go through all these, no one has ever said that they miss Mike Sheehan. Do you think that the publicity machine or the publicity machine for the Rocket is swinging into action? Why haven't they said they miss Mike? Either he's a dickhead or we love him. But the Rocket, where's the Rocket? This keeps coming up. Do you think there's just a promotional machine in operation here, because the rocket wouldn't come back, and we would.
Or the rocket might have just got his own publicity department going, a bit like the Victorian Labor Party. They've got 139 odd people in their media department.
Yes, righto. Now I'm just going to finish the comments, Don, because
he might have enlisted a lot of people just to reply on.
Take your hand away from your mouth, please.
No, you can still hear
No,
me.
I can't. You come and sit over here. You come and I'll take your microphone for a while. You come and sit here. Do you want to do that? Come round here now.
Come on, move on.
Come and sit over here and watch these bars and take your fucking hand. You put your hand up again. What's wrong with you, man? I'm trying.
Move on.
So this is the final comments. No,
Do you
listen.
want a tablet?
Hang on. What?
Do you want a tablet?
Do I want a tablet? This is what my agent, who's going down to see the woman and be told to fuck off when she asks, would you like to be interviewed? She says that you just bounce around from fucking. We never. How about this is from Graham Coleman, I think. Well, it is. How about saying Sam and Don might be walking from the mainstream and government propaganda? I don't know what this means. Rubbing their eyes and saying, what's going on? You say, go back to sleep, boys, and don't ask questions. You're not entitled to ask. Once they're awake, they can't be put back to sleep. What do you think that means? Is he giving us a compliment?
Why are you giving it air?
Because it just amuses me. Is that a compliment? Or
So is this what you do all week, is read social media?
Don?
God, you've got a busy life.
I don't do that all week. If we put up a little blurb at the front of this by standing in front of the Smart as Sam sign and we say who's on, we obviously by inference invite people to comment, and it's only reasonable that I don't reply to many of them, all of them really, but if you do reply to them, we should. Here we go. Now listen to this. This was about. This is from Milan of ethnic. Fancy making it easy for a one-time fan of this podcast, to let it die a slow death. Thanks to the ad nauseum whines every week, and the obsession with Trump and the Australian political party bias taking away from once what made the podcast great. Lapdog Ivan and Don ruining the flow has all but killed it. But that's having a shot at us all, Don, in fairness, because and we got plenty of things about Nicola Charles. Why do you have that woman on? She's a conspiracy theorist. And as I said to one person, I replied, I don't often reply, I said, you got out of your comfort zone. We interview people. We don't care who they are. We like to interview people who have different, diverse and lateral points of view about everything, and you can make your own mind up. Plenty of people agreed with her and plenty of people didn't. And that's why we do it. And so we had plenty of, some of the comments. I won't read them out because they obviously bore you unless it's something to do with you. So, they come on Twitter, and then a friend of ours that is part of a big chemist warehouse chain, a big chemist chain. I won't say what it's called. Because
Chemmart?
Chemmart. Yeah, it could be
Chemist
Chemmart.
Warehouse.
It could be either of those. It could be. I'm not sure which one it is, Don, but it's not the point. The point is, He. I think it's a he. I don't even know who this person is, but he contacted us and he says, because it's on Twitter. Now I'm going to ask you this about Twitter. Do you know who Elon Musk is?
Yes, he's the electric car. He's bought part of Twitter. Has he got Facebook as well?
Well, no. Well done, Don. You're close. They say he is the richest man in the world. I can't believe that, but he makes Tesla. And he's put rockets into the orbit for satellite distribution. And
that's his real. I've wondered whether that's his real name or a
Elon Musk. Well, let me quickly tell you about this.
Is that his real name, Elon Musk?
It is his real name. And they've called him...
Ben Lexon changed his name. Do you remember Ben Lexon, who designed the keel for the Alan Bond yacht that won the America's Cup? Now, his name was Ben something, but he changed it to Lexon. Anyway, it's interesting.
Oh, why don't you get
a bit
on
like you, where your name's John, but you call yourself Sam.
Why don't you get on to Elton John?
Reginald Dwight.
Yes, why don't you get on to Cliff Richard?
What was his?
Well, it wasn't Cliff Richard.
How do you
Why
know?
don't you... What?
It might have been.
It wasn't.
I just gave you Reginald Dwight.
Oh, Cliff Richard's name's not Cliff Richard. And it's everyone, plenty of people's names. Lady Gaga's not called Lady Gaga. It's been shit on. Fuck. Anyhow, Elon Musk is his name, and he is sick of Twitter having a biased left-wing slant and not allowing people... I've been kicked off Twitter. Plenty of people who don't toe the party line from the Democrats or the left wing of politics get put off Twitter and Facebook by little dweebs like the bloke Mark Zuckerberg, who owns it, and they think that they can control the whole of the narrative in the world unless it only suits them. So Donald Trump, the best president the United States have ever had, number 45 presidents, thanks to that man who said we go on about Donald Trump. Just have a look at what's going on in that country, America. And if Trump was there... So anyhow...
talking about
Trump has been put off Twitter because they don't like what he says. So Elon Musk says this is ridiculous, and he has bought, I think, 10% of Twitter and almost is going to try and buy the whole lot, which is $37 billion worth, I think. Or maybe that's only 10%. I'm not sure.
He start up his own, which would...
Because he's got a ready-made base. So then the people who are... This is how desperate people are, and this is a bit like us. The people who are desperate, they have now rounded Elon Musk up, and he says, because they've called him a racist, because he was born in South Africa under the regime of apartheid. He comes from South Africa, and because he's born in that country where apartheid used to be a thing, they're calling him a racist. You can't make it up. It's a bit like us discussing the Winmar affair here, and us being cited as being what were we called, vilifying Winmar because we sat here and dared to have a discussion. You and Mick Sheehan did, didn't you?
The AFL have done a documentary on that.
Dared to have a discussion. I hope so. Have they?
Who's
Good.
going to be the trustee of that fund too?
I hope we're in it.
When Gillon McLaughlin's gone.
I hope we're in it. I hope this shows on it, and I'm fortunate that I'm on. What's that thing that the fifth quarter or the final quarter about? About Adam Goodes. What was that?
Don't know.
Oh, it was a doco one.
Okay.
I'm glad I'm on that. Because they took a thing I said off the footy show and made that was the main advertising thing about it, me saying, hang on a minute, and I had an opinion about what Adam Goodes...
Watch your feet, please. They're under the table here. You're on the cord.
So no one heard you say that because
I watched
now
your
they can
feet.
hear you. Now they can hear you.
Well, I had to bend down and pick the cord up and get your feet off the cord because you don't want to go off air.
I'm watching it here, Don. I'm not...
Yes, have a look.
I'm nowhere near my
because
feet.
I pulled the cord away.
So they called Elon Musk a racist because he actually happened to be born in South Africa where apartheid was. So we have a bit of people just use that's completely nebulous and ridiculous term now. It means nothing. Being a racist, it means absolutely nothing. Anyone, what you do then? Point it to the clock. We're going 39 minutes, Don.
Too long.
Do you know how many topics we've covered? I'm just covering one now about Elon Musk. And our friend from one of the chemist chains, I don't know which one it is.
I think I do know the man.
Well, I don't...
I think I do know the man.
He says...
he may be a Hawthorn supporter.
He texted and he said... Elon better hurry up and take over Twitter before it really loses all its followers. So he thinks that because they suppress the other half of what people want to talk about, that people are dropping off Twitter. I'm not sure if that's right. I wouldn't think that's right. But my cadence bars. Why are my cadence bars there? No, there they are. Oh, jeez. So that's how we got onto Elon Musk. Now, Don, don't wind us up. And we've got the doctor, I think, ringing in. I did. Oh yeah, we better get off too because the doctor's ringing in. I think he's going to ring in. I texted him. I said, feel free to ring in. I haven't heard back from him, but we'll keep the phone on in case. So I've got plenty of things to speak about, Don. Although, hang on, I've got the wrong sheet here. So just in case, I wanted to make one thing. I've done the Instagram. We've done the shout-outs. There's too many shout-outs to mention. We've done Elon Musk, and now we're going to, the Lakes entrance thing. Remember I talked about, do you remember I talked about, you were talking about magpies and I was talking about feeding them fish and chips. Have a listen to this, Don. Do you get overrun by cockatoos down at your joint?
I did. I was feeding them at one stage.
You were feeding cockatoos. You're the one of the pests. You're one of the pests, Don.
I gave it away when they came into the shed. They flew into the shed and started to dismantle all my electrical cables in the shed, and they weren't around very long after that.
Did you shoot them?
No, I didn't shoot them.
Poison them?
No, I had the Shanghai.
Oh, I see the ball thruster from the just get a jock strap and pull back a rubber.
Put what? Your jock?
Get your jock strap. Get a jock strap.
What's a jock strap?
Jock strap's the thing that used to wrap your dick and your balls up when you played football, Don.
Did you wear one of those?
Well, I did. It's called a jock strap. It's made specifically.
I just wore Speedos.
You didn't worry if you got hit in the agates or the snag.
What, do you think they'd protect you, the jock strap?
Not at all, no.
So you had your ass hanging out the back, is that the one? The straps?
I didn't have my ass hanging out.
Well, you do. Isn't that the one where you...
I was getting onto the cockatoos, incidentally.
Well, I'm more interested in the jock strap. So how long did you wear the jock strap for? I'd never
wore one. Only, let me just see, 18 years.
Did you really?
Well, I took it off when I finished playing the game. I didn't wear it out in public.
I thought you would.
No, because it's got no eye hole for your dick to poke out when you want to have a leak. You've got to pull the whole apparatus apart.
Oh, so you'd have straps around your ankle,
in the fly in the underwear, did you ever used to put your dick through the fly so you could have a piss? Or did you just pull the side of the leg up and then slip your dick out under it? Think about that, Don.
I am thinking about it.
I got that down to a fine art. So, mind you, I don't think I ever snuck it out through the fly. Why would you put a fly in underwear? Unless you didn't use the fly. Unless you didn't use...
Not changing that jock strap and walking around Geelong after the game with your jock strap on.
Unless you didn't use the fly necessarily to do wee out of, unless you just put your snag out the fly for other reasons. So that
Why would you stick your snag out for other reasons?
So you mightn't have to remove your clothes if you wanted to copulate. Save time, and if you had to get dressed hurriedly, you could just pull them all up and scamper. Don, and we digress. So I asked you, Don, about cockatoos. Speaking of cockatoos, why do they call where the airline pilots drive a plane, why do they call it the cockpit? Is that because only men used to fly them, or what? Why do they call it the cockpit?
Do you think the name will change?
That's right. It could be person pit, or could be vag pit.
Well, I think, what about your friends Mr. and Mrs. Joyce?
Mr. and Mr.
Oh, sorry.
Don't
what is
call
it?
him Mrs. Joyce. It's Mr. and Mr. Joyce.
Okay. Well, what about you writing to them and telling them about the cockpit?
Which one?
Of the plane?
Which Mr. Joyce?
You said Mr. and Mr. Joyce.
Yes, there's two of them. They're married.
Well, they will talk. Obviously, they're in a relationship, and
they're married, Don.
Okay, well, they will talk, so I don't know which one you'd send it to, but if you send it to one, you'd tell the other one.
No, he mightn't want his mail read. He mightn't want his mail read from his partner. So I'd have to find out what Mr. Joyce is. I think Alan is Mr. Joyce, and
no,
the other
he's the coach of Hawthorn, wasn't he?
You're not married to him, is he? I tell you what, he'd give him a workout if he was married to the Alan Joyce I know from Hawthorn. Don, I'm going to finish the Cockatoos. Do you know why do they call airline pilots where they drive them cockpits? They might call them badge pits now. Now, Don, so Don, listen, we're finishing now. My friend told me, listen.
Is this the agent?
No,
Your agent?
no, it's another. I've got to have another friend.
Oh, you got another friend.
He said that he took his yacht, and he anchored it down at Lake's entrance. Listen to this. And he lowered the tender, which you go to shore.
What is a tender?
Oh, a tender's a little boat that you get from the yacht onto the shore. And, you know,
Dinghy.
Well, it's called a tender, yeah, but dinghy, right?
Yeah.
It's either got an engine on it or you can row it. Doesn't matter. So he went in to get some provisions for his yacht, and by the time he got back to the yacht, the Cockatoos, there was not thousands, he said there were hundreds of them on his boat. They had completely stripped his boat of all its ropes, its sails, its electrical light. He said his boat was inoperable. He couldn't do anything with it. They had completely dismantled his boat.
How long? He must have been away for a long time.
Yeah, well, Don, I didn't ask him that, but he said he took the tender in to get some provisions, could have had breakfast in there, could have just stayed on land for the morning.
They're very destructive.
Oh, really, Don? That's the point?
That's the sulphur-crested cockatoo.
I don't know.
Well, it is. It's the sulphur-crested one. That'd be the one that's
Give us a name of another one.
Well, you got cockatooral and you've got...
Cockatooral. What? Don, you're speaking
Corella?
shit. Don, or macaw?
Yeah, that's a South American...
Oh, it probably wouldn't have been down at Lake's entrance then if it's
that's
South
a very
American.
big
Don,
bird.
it doesn't matter what the fucking colour of the parrot was or the cockatoo, it completely dismantled his boat, and that was the point of me saying, don't feed the woman food and give her cigarettes, because you're just encouraging, like when you feed fish and chips to seagulls, they say they're destructive. I'm not saying the woman's destructive, I'm just saying the parallel is there, and I was just giving you a final...
Talking about boats...
We're not talking about it anymore because you want to stop. Go on.
I think you should sail the boat to Queensland. That's on your wish list, your bucket list. I would say, we talked about it last week.
I might have to sell the warehouse to pay for the fuel.
But that's on your bucket list.
Selling the warehouse?
No.
Righto, Don. Can I just, before we break off, we're going to break off because we're going to have this going when the doc hopefully rings in. Did you contribute? You contributed one story today, and I think that was about something to do with Hawthorn. No, what was it? Something to do with the football? Not having a diverse range of sporting activities on the television. That was your only topic. And well done.